Alright, hello everybody. I got a request to review this mouse right here, the Logitech MX Master 3. So that is exactly what I'm doing. This is an incredibly popular mouse in the productivity space. It's a mouse that a lot of big YouTubers use, and it's a mouse that I think is really great for productivity. However, I do think that some of the features that it has kind of go over people's heads, and that's definitely true for me too. So I'm going to give a review of this mouse as somebody who has used it ever since release, and who has used it primarily for browsing and basic productivity. I have not used this mouse to the fullest, and I know that. However, I think that I've used it to a higher level than the average person, so I think I also am in a position where I can give some amount of insight as to what features of this mouse are actually relevant. So first off, I want to talk about the shape. This is not a gaming mouse, okay? This is a productivity mouse. So when I talk about this mouse, I want to be talking about comfort, and I want to be talking about usability, right? Because this is not a shape. This is not productivity mice are not made for precise clicking and movement and all that, right? So when I'm reviewing this mouse, I want to be talking about how comfortable it is to use and whether or not I feel like I'm in control of the mouse at all times. Also, are all buttons within reach? And I would say apart from this button right up here, which by default is bound to change the scroll wheel from free scrolling to tactile, apart from that, every button is comfortably within reach, right? You have your scroll wheel, you can scroll up and down, you can middle click very comfortably, you have your left and right click, you have your forward button, you have your back button, which are comfortably within reach, you have your side scroll wheel, which is comfortably within reach, and then I can't actually press it and hold the mouse up at the same time, but then you also have that thumb button that that you push right there, and that is also very comfortably within reach. So every button on this mouse, with the exception of the one to change scrolling modes, can be moved without really changing your grip, and this one can still be reached like this, which isn't too uncomfortable. Additionally, this mouse is extremely comfortable. It has a bit of a slant, as you can see. If I hold it like this, you can see that it is somewhat slanted, and that means it doesn't quite feel like a vertical mouse, but this is the closest to a vertical mouse that I've ever used, and it's a good 45-degree angle, and that's definitely comfortable. My hand feels like it's in a more natural position. I feel like this is a good level of ergonomics. I feel like for somebody who has not used an ergonomic mouse before, and who has only used gaming mice, such as myself, this is still very comfortable. It's not quite that vertical mouse that feels kind of unwieldy. This is still something I know, but it's certainly more comfortable. By the way, I'll talk about the mouse gates later. It is definitely a big mouse. I can actually palm this mouse, but my normal grip works just great. And I don't think that's going to be too small for anybody, unless you have truly big hands. But my hands are around 20.5 centimeters by 10 centimeters, which is definitely above average. And this mouse fits just fine in my hands for any grip style. Speaking of grip styles, I can palm it very comfortably. I can claw, traditional claw or more relaxed claw, very comfortably as well. And I can fingertip this mouse very comfortably as well. And in all those grip styles, all of the buttons continue to be in the right spaces. So this is an incredibly well-designed mouse with a lot of intention. In terms of clicks, they are kind of dog shit, in all honesty. I expected a lot more out of a $100 productivity mouse. The side buttons are relatively mushy, but also very quiet. And I feel like that's just, they wanted to use more quiet switches, and those switches happen to be more mushy. Middle click is super firm. And then left and right click feel just fine, but they sound really fucking weird, and every time I use this mouse after not using it for a prolonged period of time, I feel like I'm breaking it because the clicks sound weird. So I'll do a quick sound test here. This is left click. This is right click. And then I'll do both side buttons. This is forward. And this is backward. And then middle click if you care. Oh, here comes my cat. Middle click if you care. And then this is scrolling. Oh, here comes my cat. And then this mouse is able to do free scrolling as well, and this is what that sounds like. It's absolutely silent. This mouse has a okay, now I'm gonna start getting into, actually, one more thing about the mouse before I start getting into features. The skates are not excellent. I replace these with core pads because they do feel much nicer. That's just something because I use high-end aftermarket skates on all my mice that annoyed me. If you're not a gaming mouse person, the skates aren't going to annoy you at all. But also, it was like $10 for nicer skates, and these are going to hold up forever. So the skates are not good, but it's a productivity mouse. You're probably not going to care about the skate quality. All right, now to get into features. The features that I use on this mouse every day are the scroll wheel, being able to easily switch between tactile and free scrolling, the side wheel, and then also this button right here. There are other features on this mouse that come with the software that I do not use every day, or frankly at all. There's one feature that allows this mouse to smoothly transition from one computer to another. So if you have two monitors, and let's say you have one computer on one monitor and another computer on another monitor, no matter the OS, you'll be able to seamlessly go from one monitor to the other, right? This does not actually work that well. In practice, you kind of need to hit it against the side of the screen several times until it realizes you're trying to move over. I found there's this button on the bottom that allows you to switch between your three connected devices. The first one is connected via USB, and the second two are Bluetooth. I have found in practice that just clicking that when you want to switch devices is so much fucking easier. I use a MacBook for school. It's not necessarily. I don't want to go too much into that because it's not the purpose of this video. But at times, I will have my MacBook pulled up onto a monitor, working on the notes that I took when I was out and about with my laptop, and then on my other monitor, I'll have like a show or something. And the ability to press the button to go from one screen to the other is super, super useful. So I think the super easy switching between devices is really, really nice. However, I don't think that the seamless switching from one monitor to another just by swiping is functional, and I also don't think it's worth using, and I don't think it's a reason to buy this mouse at all. When I got this mouse, it sounded interesting. I thought it might be something I used. I tried it for a good month, and it just was never something that I actually ended up using. There are a whole bunch of configuration options for this mouse and programming for this mouse, and you can definitely you can edit it per program. That is not something I've done. So, for those who don't know, with this mouse, you have a button right here hidden in the thumb rest. I don't know if you can hear that. But there's a button hidden in there, and you can press it down very comfortably with your thumb, just like that. And then pressing it does one thing, and then if you press and move your mouse while holding it, it does another thing. So for me, I have it bound. Pressing it is the same as Window Tab, right? If I hold it and go left, it pulls a window to my left monitor. If I hold it and go right, it pulls a window to my right monitor. If I hold it and go down, it minimizes a window, and if I hold it and go up, it pulls up my screenshot tool. That is how I have. That's how I have it programmed. I have not changed it, and I don't have it changed for any programs. So I think that the gestures and the ability of using this button are really, really nice, and definitely a reason to pick up this mouse. However, I think that, for me at least, having it change functionality based on program is not something I actually use. If I coded or did video editing, that's probably a thing I would do. I mean, I do some level of video editing, but a very low level, and it's not my profession. Or if I did photo editing or something. Basically, if I worked in computer programs for my profession, or if I just did it a lot, I think that might be something I enjoy doing. But for school, I'm an English major, I write a lot. There aren't really things that I can program to my mouse to make my writing easier, right? So, for the most part, I just have things that make my browsing easier. I think the ability to pull up my screenshot tool through my mouse is kind of incredible, and I honestly really love that. And then the rest of the gestures are all super cool, and I think it's a button and a system that is really nice and worth picking up the mouse for. But personally, I don't use the whole, I don't use the part of it where I program it for every program that I have on my computer. Okay, this side scroll wheel is a fucking game changer. Oh shit, I don't have my G903 out. The G903 has the ability to scroll side to side by tilting the scroll wheel, and I think that is also very good. But the actual individual side scroll wheel is just so much nicer because you have so much more control over it. It feels so much more natural, and it's in a really good position. So this side scroll wheel I use every day, and I think it's fantastic, and again, a reason to pick up this mouse. And then finally, for me, the feature that is most important is the seamless switching between tactile and free scrolling modes. So you can program it. You can actually program this in the software, but you can make it that if you scroll with a certain intensity, it will go to free scrolling, and this is fucking incredible because this means I can do my normal scrolling, right, going through web pages, reading line by line. But then if I want to get all the way to the top, I just scroll, and it enters free scrolling mode if I go fast enough. This is something that I unironically use every day, and probably every hour, and is a fucking massive game changer. I have not seen or heard of another mouse that offers that feature, and it's fucking insane, and it is so helpful. I think it's also something to keep in mind because most people think, oh, well, is that really that much better? You can just middle click and drag up, right? But productivity mice are really all about those little things and just sort of optimizing, right? So you also don't need a middle click. You can go to the bottom of the page and drag the slider. But this just means, sorry, not middle click, side scroll wheel. But this side scroll wheel just means that I save that time and I save that muscle effort. So there are definitely features in this mouse that I think aren't necessary, and I think other than certain users aren't going to need. There are certainly features in this mouse that, then apart from a few users that especially need those features, won't be needed by the majority of people that buy this mouse. However, there are still things in this mouse. This is certainly not a mouse that I think only the most high-level productive workers need. This is a mouse that I think everybody can get something out of. And it might not be worth $100 to you, but the scrolling is amazing, and the side scroll wheel is amazing, and the gestures and this button are also amazing, and the shape is super comfortable. And I have preached about this every single time I've reviewed a Vaxi or a Zowie mouse. Having a second mouse, specifically a wireless mouse, that is specifically for browsing and productivity, means that you can use a more specialized gaming mouse and have certain things like a scroll wheel or bad clicks not necessarily be a downside, because you have this extremely good browsing and productivity mouse that you use for everything that isn't gaming. So that's all I really have to say on this mouse. It is not a gaming mouse, and I don't have too much to say on it, and I'm definitely not an expert on this. So if you are interested in this mouse, I highly encourage you to seek out other reviews to see in case either I missed something or just other points of view that other people can bring. However, I highly recommend this mouse, and I 100% recommend a 2-mouse solution to using your computer, because I think, especially for gamers, it opens up the possibility of much more specialized gaming mice. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later. Make sure to like and subscribe. We're already on to 60 subs, and that's fucking awesome. I'll see you guys later.